All right, we are here. What is cracking? What's popping? What's shaking, everybody? Happy Friday. You've made it to another episode of the Comic Cinematic Universe with Chill and Grace. I don't know why I'm still stumbling. We're like 63 episodes in, so it should be smooth.
You know
Apologies.
what? It's okay. It's okay. Some days it's smoother than others, and some
Mm-hmm.
days it's all right. We're human, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So what's up, Grace? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I am like super excited. So we're talking about many things. Right? We got Spider Verse
Mm-hmm.
trailer.
Mm-hmm.
We got some news from DC. So a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of everything. And I'm super pumped. I got like my Spider Verse. I don't have like post-its, so I use tissues
Okay.
just to like
Like
have like
bookmarks or something like that?
yeah, like marks included. So this is like the Spider Verse. Like if you look at it, it's thick as hell.
Okay.
Let me just see if I can
It's
block
an
this.
actual graphic novel.
Yes. So this basically collects all of the storylines that go into the Spider Verse, including the ones that are in other comics that are like kind of tied into it. So it's a very big read, super worth it. And then we also have Spider Geddon, which happens after. So it's like another war that follows the Spider Verse.
Mm-hmm.
Not as popular, but still like a really good read.
Okay. Um, did you? Well, now that we're talking about it, do you want to start there?
Yeah, let's start there. So trailer kind of starts out with, Miles and his mom. And Miles's mom basically like the dialogue like is um talking over the entirety of the trailer. We see kind of like some flashbacks into the original. We see him with, getting his first suit, which is way too small for him. Stanley cameo. We see snippets of the other characters that were kind of in the movie, and then also like, which my favorite scene is like when he jumps off like the building and he kind of has his moment of where things kind of click for him because the entire film he's having a hard time to really prove himself,
You're talking
even to
about the
like Spider-Man.
first
Yeah,
movie,
first
right?
one.
And the moment you're talking about is like when he's like falling upside down.
Yes,
Okay.
epic scene,
Mm-hmm.
and then he kind of meets up with the other spider men and women to defeat Kingpin, and so we get those flashbacks, and then we get a lot of amazing snippets of the Spider Verse and the webs, and I'm excited to kind of dive into that part of the trailer.
Before we dive in, just out of curiosity, do you think Sony's gonna give any reference to 616?
Okay, so Earth 616 is basically the main storyline of the comics, right? There's still dispute in terms of the live action MCU that we've seen so far. The main
Mm-hmm.
storyline, obviously, in Multiverse of Madness, it was referred as Earth 616, but that's kind of contradictory to previous statements that this is Earth, I think, like 19999,
Mm-hmm.
which I prefer because that kind of sets up like the main timeline of the comics is in existence separate from the MCU because the MCU doesn't go page for page when it comes to adaptations of certain characters or even certain storylines, right? They've kind of taken the main essence and they've made it their own. So technically, it's not 616. So there's dispute between what that is. But there are rumors that our Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, is going to make an
Wait, that
appearance.
was my original
Yeah,
question
I figured that was your
in
question.
terms of
Yeah.
any hint or reference to the Tom Holland Peter Parker showing like a cameo or something in this film.
I mean, that's definitely a rumor. It's a rumor that I would love to see. I mean, in this film, we do see an older
Mm-hmm.
Miles. Previously, he was in high school, so there's still like TBD to see what his age is now in this film. Is he like a young adult, 18, 19, or is he still in his high school years? So that's like yet to be
Mm-hmm.
determined. Within the storyline of the Spider Verse, Miles is introduced. So Miles Morales, along with like characters like Gwen Stacy, actually were birthed in Spider Verse, and they're characters that were so, people really were drawn to that. Then they actually had their own individual storylines.
Mm-hmm.
But Miles Morales actually links up with a younger version of Peter Parker. And I think it'd be very cool if we see Tom Holland's Peter Parker kind of align with Miles Morales. And essentially in the comics, they're kind of set on like their own mission that's overarching like this big event where there's this like vampiric family that feeds off of Spider-Man. And so I feel like that would be kind of a great foundation for us to see Tom Holland's Peter Parker of 616 or Earth 19999, whichever way you want to think of it, and Miles Morales. So I can definitely see them doing that.
Okay. I was just curious just to see if Sony is going to be lenient or like we of course this is all speculation, so we have no idea what Sony is going to allow because as of right now they're holding Tom Holland hostage. Yeah, he signed for like three other movies with the MCU, but like right now it's TBD with him. There's nothing concrete, and Sony may just be like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, y'all had y'all three, and just like DC, we're cutting ties, we're starting over, we're starting fresh. So
I mean, I wouldn't even say starting fresh. Like, I feel like just blending Tom Holland because they have the rights to do that. You know what I mean? Unless there's like something within the contract of the Marvel or like the MCU and all that they're not allowed to do that or something like that within like his contract. But if they're allowed to legally, I don't see why they wouldn't take that opportunity, especially with like the success of No Way Home. I would even say, like, I wonder if we'll be able to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire as well.
Wait, can you hold on? I think I heard somebody knocking on the door. I think I got a package. Could you keep it rolling? Talk about the trailer a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
All right, be right back.
So kind of looking into some of the other variants of Spider-Man that we see in the following snippets of this trailer. So we have, of course, Gabrielle O'Hara, who we saw in the end credit scene of the first film. And he has like a very important storyline when it comes to the Spider-Verse. I'm a little rusty on the details because it's been a minute since I've seen it. But other variants of the Spider-Man that we do see, we get, of course, Gwen Stacy. We have the variant, it's a Future Foundation costume. It's a Peter Parker still from Earth 616. And we see a variant called Spider-Man from 2099 in another variant of a white suit. And we have, I believe I saw the Superior Spider-Man. The Superior Spider-Man is actually really interesting because it's not actually Peter Parker. It's Doc Ock who has inhabited Peter's body.
Yeah, they've switched. I know there's a story to where they actually switch minds. Somehow Peter ends up in Doc Ock's body, and same vice versa. So you're saying that version of that body is quote unquote Superior Spider-Man, and it's really Doc Ock.
Exactly. And I believe I see him in like those different variants in the scenes that we got. And in the events of the Spider-Verse, they don't actually know this until about the very end. So he's kind of assisting in the plan, but he's also kind of, like Doc Ock, kind of feeding his own needs, etc., and things like that. And at the very end, he attempts to I think like assist the bad guy, something to that effect, but he's able to get stopped and all these other things. But I saw that one along with a Peter Parker from India, let me see, I believe I saw Mayday Parker, who is actually the daughter of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. And in that part, we actually see Peter Parker and Mary Jane die, but she escapes with her baby brother. And so essentially the events of Spider-Verse is, like I said, there's this vampiric family that feeds off Spider-Man. And they have a connection to the webs. And basically, I forget his name, I think it's like the Web Master. I have obviously the books here, so I can easily look it up. But he is essentially imprisoned by this family and forced to allow them to kind of enter these different dimensions or universes and feed off the
Mm.
Spider-Man. And essentially, like, they are able to kind of sniff out the essence. And there's one particular Spider-Man that has like the strongest essence, and he's kind of considered to be almost like the main one. The Indian Spider-Man, actually, when they all kind of come together and realize that there's this threat to all the
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Men, has like a commentary of kind of like, it's so weird to think that you're an like offside variant of something else. Like, it's almost like questioning their identity. You know what I mean? And I think it's actually Miles Morales that kind of inputs some dialogue to kind of just ease his uncertainties and things like that. But it's an amazing comic, and I'm so excited that they're adopting this into this film. Um, and who knows if it's gonna involve that kind of storyline where there's this family kind of hunting down
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man. But I'm so excited. It's like, just seeing these is, for me, I'm really pumped.
Well, let's say just for starters, initial reactions for this trailer, I would say I'm in just because of a how the first one was. Like, I was really surprised at how good the original Spider Verse movie was, but now being that, like, listen y'all, like I literally just watched this trailer right before I hit go live here, so I'm trying to remember everything I just saw a couple minutes ago. But as far as just kind of the premise and what we saw in the trailer, we see he's going back into the verse, and he's hanging out with Gwen, and he's meeting all these Spider-Man. It's like a world or a universe of Spider-Man, and somehow it gets up. It looks like it turns to be a majority of these Spider-Man versus Miles Morales. So I'm really curious just to see how that goes. The main Spider-Man person, I don't want to say villain, but this person, he looks to be like, I forgot which video game it was, but it was like, maybe it's Spider-Man 2099, something to where it's like super futuristic. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, most definitely. So it's Gabriel O'Hara, and he did make an appearance in the end credits of the original
Did he
film.
really?
And so, yes, yeah. And so, it's also similar to the comics that he kind of has conflict with some of the other Spider-Men. And that's kind of the basis of a lot of the stories, because you get all these Spider-Men, there's one mission, but obviously they all have their own opinions of how they should go about
Mm-hmm.
it. And so there's obviously conflict within like the team, which I think makes it easy for this family of, like, there's a specific term for what they are, but I can't remember, but they to hunt them down essentially. And in this case, it does seem like maybe um, Gabriel O'Hara is, like, I wouldn't say the main antagonist, but is, the conflict between him and Miles might make it harder for them to like prepare to like the main antagonist to like the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the premise I think this is gonna fall into.
Yeah. Um, I was looking to see if there were any more recognizable characters, but as of right now, I think it's just the only thing we saw from the trailer were Spider Man. We didn't get to see any necessarily recognizable villains, and I think that's good in a good way. They didn't reveal who's behind anything here. I think I like that just because, as of right now, with the history of the Spider Man of the 8 movies that we've got, I think we've gotten variations of a couple villains plus a few villains that we didn't see in other movies or whatnot. But either way, I think it's cool that right now we're being led to believe that it's Miles versus every other Spider-Man and woman, and yeah, I think I saw a black Spider Woman in there. I thought that was pretty cool. Do you have any info on her?
Not in particular. We saw, I mean, there's so many, and a lot of them are kind of hard to picture out. But another one is like, she's like she's a Spider Woman, but she's like a tinker. So she creates like her spider suit. I don't believe she's like genetically
Mm.
enhanced, but she's very clearly in this. So she's like based in like the 1930s or 40s or something like that, very early years. And so it's we have so many, and these are just the ones I like plucked um quickly, like not even fully in detail. And so I mean, I'm just excited to see, because the trailer was very short and we really didn't get too much, and I kind of like that because there's time to get more. And I prefer to not get too much. Like, we've had experiences, especially with like the MCU as of recent, where we're just getting too much in the trailers, and it kind of like, not ruins the experience, but I think robs us of certain just like cool moments that you don't really expect fully,
I think right here, right now, I think we're just going to insert our big movie exec spot right here, because right here I'm going to say the Sony exec. We have no idea what his name is, so we're just going to call him or her Sony exec. They saw what was going on with Marvel, especially with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and got a good idea what not to do when it comes down to trailers. They're like, okay, we're looking to put out another multiversal movie with the Spider-Verse. What do we not do to make people actually want to come? And they learned is like, let's not give a X-Men cameo, let's not give a whole other cameos. Let's just keep it mysterious, just so people can actually be shocked and surprised when they're in theaters.
Yeah, and I think kind of to your point earlier, when the initial film like came out, I really didn't have very many expectations for
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, I went to see it without really any excitement, if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
honest. More so, like, my daughter really wanted to watch it, and also as a fan, it's like you have a responsibility to
Yeah.
watch everything,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like genuinely so amazed. Like, just the visuals were so well done, the music. It was very exciting. It's a very different, I think, animation, a very unique one that blends like comic book panels really well with the
Mm-hmm.
story. And I just think that's super cool.
Yeah. So, I think right now, trailer wise, I think I'm giving it an A. If I were to grade it,
Oh,
I'm giving it an A.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
just because it gave us just enough reference to remember Miles and Gwen, and just giving us the fact that this is again just another multiversal movie. So in a way, Sony has its own like multiverse of madness going. I think for right now, that's pretty much everything. Everywhere all at once, low key. I didn't even mean to do that, but either way, yeah, like Sony kind of has their foot in the multiversal game right now, and it worked for them the first time, and I'm just excited for this next one.
I'm excited. And just to kind of give you guys a really good understanding of like the premise of like the comic book version, and I'll also read it for
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Geddon, just because like we know we don't really get a page for page adaptation. We usually get blends of many
Correct.
things. So this is just like the description of the back ends of the comics. So one of the deadliest foes Spidey ever faced is back, but this time he isn't alone. Morland's whole family of inheritors, so that's the name of like
The vampire
this family I was
family.
talking about,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, is rampaging across the multiverse, feeding on the life forces of arachnid powered superhumans, and they won't stop until they've consumed every Spider Man, woman, girl, and more. No single hero stands any chance of survival. To have any hope, the Spider Man will have to unite, from the amazing to the ultimate, the spectacular to the sensational, the friendly neighborhood spider to the superior, the 1602 to 2099. So that's like the years, right? Cartoon Spideys, clone Spideys, cool costume Spideys, even cosmic Spideys. This one has it all, from old favorites like Ben, Riley, and yes, Spider Ham, to the breakout stars like Giant Robot SP, Doctor, and Rocktelier Spider Gwen. Join Spider Woman, Scarlet Spider, Silk Spider Man 2099, a time torn Superior Spider Man, Ultimate Spider Man, Spider Girl, present and future, and of course, the one true Spider-Man as they join the wall crawlers of all worlds for the most incredible team up of all. Like, tell me that doesn't sound just freaking amazing.
I got lost in all the Spider-Man names. I'm not even gonna lie. Like you were like listing
Wild.
off
Like it's
all those.
so
I was just
wild,
like,
and I think
all
it's cool.
right. I think for me, I guess I'm the other side to that coin to where I'll be excited more so when I see it in film, just because I haven't read the comics, I haven't seen who's involved in the verse, so I'm just gonna leave it to surprise me when I see it in theater.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited. I feel like I'm just pumped. I'm
yeah.
pumped.
Okay. And was that it? Did you have anything else on there?
I think that's great. I didn't realize this was gonna be such a word, like a mouthful. So I think I'll leave it there. Spider-Geddon. We'll talk about it on like future episodes and things
Sure.
like that as we get closer to the film.
Definitely.
Do you know off the top of your head the release date for this?
No, because like right at the very end, I didn't even wait for the release. I watched the whole thing and I just turned it off in excitement. I was like, awesome, perfect, ready. Like so, we will either let you know, or is Grace looking it up right now? Are you looking it up on your phone?
I'm looking it up right now. I do know that they had changed it because originally I think it was actually supposed to be released October of this
Mm-hmm.
year. And they rescheduled it. Let's see. I may not have the updated version. Yeah, I don't think I have it updated on here, but um 2023 and TBD. We can look it up later.
Okay,
You guys can look it too. But it's
it's
coming soon.
coming. The trailer dropped. The movie will be dropping, and there's no news of cancellation. So right now we're good to go for 2023. All right. All right. So we are moving forward, and we're going back into the universe of DC Studios. So say with DC, we had our whole conversation about Feige and Gunn, and my whole hot take of Feige kind of sliding Gunn a check just to sabotage. But we got some news yesterday that I posted on our Instagram and our stories that Henry Cavill has officially retired as the Superman, and I think I read it as like I read two posts. Like I posted one, which I think came from James Gunn, and then I read his statement, and his statement was more so that he is officially retiring. Yes, he met with James Gunn, and just from that line, him saying he met with James Gunn, right then and there, I'm going to assume that he went into that meeting with high hopes, and James Gunn shot that down. Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, okay, so we have the DC extended universe, which, and this is pre James Gunn, that they were kind of creating. This was kind of their second round. So basically, films like Black Adam, Flash, Aquaman 2 are almost null and void because James Gunn is really looking to start fresh, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so whatever direction I think that these upcoming films and recent films that were released, the direction I think that those films were leading into, that's no longer
Mm-hmm.
happening. And so although we got the Henry Cavill cameo at the very end of Black Adam, unfortunately the plans that James Gunn is outlining does not include that. And they're going to explore a younger version of, Spider-Man, Superman. So we're going to get a new casting. And so, yeah, I think your interpretation of what that meeting might have looked like would be kind of like that. You know, I
Well,
think
yeah, like say if I'm Henry, right, and then like the execs call me, be like, "All right, we want to talk to you about Superman." Okay, great, I'm on my way. So like I'm thinking he arrives, and this is almost like an ambush, just because he's like on a high of putting on the suit again for Black Adam. So he's just like, okay, I'm going in. They're about to possibly talk about giving me a ton of money to play Superman because I didn't just quit Witcher for nothing. But now he gets in there And I'm sure it was just like, Henry, have a seat. Here, sit right here.
Fine.
Oh man! And then they broke it down and like say with this news, I think. Let me ask you: do you think that because what Gunn is doing to DC, do you think The Rock is done as Black Adam?
I mean, okay, so kind of going back to see the statement prior to the announcement of Henry Cavill, James Gunn said something along the. Actually, I have the quote right in front of me, so instead of kind of reading it off of memory, I'll just read it. But uh, the validity varies, and he's referring to the rumors that came out about roughly last
Mm-hmm.
week. Some is true, some is half true, and some is not true at all. And so I think they're picking and choosing which characters will continue based on the stories that they're looking to tell at this point. And unfortunately, that did not include Henry Cavill's Superman. And so I think it just depends. I have high hopes that, or I honestly believe that, like things like Suicide Squad and Peacemaker will continue because those are projects that James Gunn was on, and they are indisputably very well received. And so I think characters like Black Adam, Aquaman are still TBD. Like I said last time, I think
Gal.
as Wonder Woman, I think that's like definitively Axe. I really don't feel like that's going to continue on.
That's wild. I think my hot take still comes to play. I think he went over there with the intention, honestly, to get rid of everything. I'm not okay. I'll say that. Of course, the whole joke of Kevin Feige was a joke, but I think with Warner Brothers approaching him and asking him to be the DC exec, I feel like he wouldn't have agreed to it if he says, here's my vision, and it doesn't include anything that you've come out with in the past except for Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker. I'll be the head with my guy over here. We'll take the job if we are allowed to start from the bottom. So we're gonna get rid of Superman. We're gonna get rid of Wonder Woman, and uh, yeah, I think that was the intention of James Gunn, even like when he accepted this meeting with Warner Brothers.
And there have been some projects that are affirmed, like for example, the Batman. Like they're still planning to continue that project. And in reference to the upcoming oh Lord, I'm so stuck on Spider-Man, Superman. Um, they're going to be exploring a Superman in his early years of
Right.
being a hero, and I think that's very similar to what they did with the Batman. And there's been some speculation that maybe we're going to see a crossover of these two projects. I have a hot take on that, but I'm curious to see how you feel about that rumor.
I doubt it. I
You
doubt
doubt
it
it?
just because of the look and feel of that Batman. I think if anything, the only crossover that we talked about last week would be the Joker, just because of the look and feel of it. They're both similar. They both have the dark look, but I think honestly, the Batman may went a little bit more goth, where Joker was a little bit more modern. Like say, it looked like modern day New York City but it was actually Gotham or whatnot. So it was different in that way. But as far as mixing either of those two in the DCEU, I don't see it. So um, all in all, I'm just expecting everything DCEU related is over and done with. Like they're probably gonna let the Shazam fly, because I think it's already done, and I think it's already done, even like post credit wise. I think it's just done being edited, and now it's just being waited to drop. So they're gonna release that next year, and as of right now, I think that's the only thing that DC has going. Because they may be, or do you know if they've started filming Joker 2?
No, like that was announced, but I believe the date that they gave out was like 2024 or something like
Right,
that.
so they're probably
Um,
going to start filming that next year. So DC is low key going to be kind of quiet next year until DC fandom.
or loud. Like, I believe DC fandom usually revolves like is around December. So a year from now, I honestly feel like we might be getting a lot of announcements. So kind of touching a couple of the points you made. So first of all, like the Spider-Man and the Batman crossover. I
Spider
think
Man?
when we had our initial for the rest of this
Hmm.
DC segment, just assume I'm talking about Superman when I say Spider-Man. But Superman and Batman crossover. Originally, when we talked about the Batman and kind of gave our review, we discussed how the tone and the feel, like the goth and the noir of this
Mm-hmm.
film, the brutality of it, like the darkness, the broody, is so true to Batman in a way that they haven't really explored in the past. And like I'm very protective of it. Like I do not want them to dilute that like noir goth
Mm-hmm.
feel for them to incorporate Superman. So something that I could kind of see happen if they do listen to the like wants of the fandom, etc., is creating like the Superman early years and continue with the Batman and kind of find a balance where they do a crossover that's not within either of their like lineups but kind of their own little pocket thing, and then they can you know what I mean. It's kind of like if they do mesh, meet somewhere in the middle, but not like say dilute a Batman film to match Superman. More so it's like a own little pocket of a story. Because I kind of look at that as almost like, for example, Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey and then Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad. Like they have a similar tone, but the Harley Quinn one has a tone that matches more of her story, whereas Suicide Squad, because the story is a blend of all these characters, it doesn't stick to just her tone. Like it's a little bit different. And I think that's okay. And then same thing goes for Peacemaker. It has a little bit of a different variation of that tone. And so I think they could do it and they could do it well, but there's like a risk. And honestly, I'd rather just keep these things separate, you know?
Um, okay. I'm just gonna digest everything you just said, just because I'm not against anything that you mentioned. I'm just kind of thinking back to as far as what we've gotten with Superman. I think Superman for me honestly was diluted as soon as Batman v Superman hit the screen. And not to say that that wasn't good, but it was a different side of Superman to where though it was still kind of dark, I feel like Man of Steel as a movie, it wasn't like the normal Superman movie, I think. And I think that was what they intended, because everything from uh, the uh, the original Superman movie, I forgot the name of the actor, and then the Superman Returns Superman, all of those were the bright and shiny uh, Superman, where it was nothing too dramatic. To where here we got some stakes with, in Man of Steel, I mean, we got some stakes with how he learned his lessons with his dad, how he lost his dad, and what he had to do to take care of General Assad. And we've never really seen Superman have to like snap anybody's neck. Like Superman is usually just like the man to just save everybody, and he's been in that light ever since Man of Steel. Like after that, it's just like, let me save this person, and then if it comes down to it, like him going up against Doomsday, he had to do what he did just because he was the only one strong enough. But I still feel like a death like that didn't touch anything that happened in Man of Steel. So if, not even if, a movie like Man of Steel, if they continued something like that, I feel like it would almost fit into the lore of a darker version of a Superman that could fit into the world of what DC is creating with the Joker and this new Batman. Not to say they would be all in the same world, but I'm just saying feel wise it would make sense. Now, moving forward, I think with what James Gunn is doing, right? Because his job right now is to make a world that makes sense, right? Make a DC universe that can appease the fans and make sense. And right now, he is trying to remove any future disappointments, being that we've been disappointed almost this whole entire time. Is that right? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, and like the DCEU, I think tried very hard to salvage what they did with Justice League, and I think that's exactly what the attempt was with like Aquaman 2, The Flash, Shazam, and Black Adam. And I think it's a smart decision on like the side of James Gunn of like, something like let's make this dead and
Right.
start from scratch, and we can, because casting wise there have been great casting, so maybe just continue the ones and pick and choose based on what would make sense with the stories that they're starting to create. Um, and I think the new stories are going to have continuity because the DCEU is dead. This is
Mm-hmm.
now labeled as like the DC Universe, DCU. Um, Not too far off from the original name, but obviously distinctively
Mm-hmm.
different. And so, I mean, I'm excited. Like, I think we have a lot of rapport with James Gunn. Any project that he has been involved with has been like top tier.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see because we have. I still believe that they will be releasing, say, like Aquaman 2 and all these other things, even if they don't plan to do more with those characters and those stories. The Flash, I think, is TBD. There has just been so much drama with that film. I wouldn't be surprised if they never released it.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
shame.
it's a shame because I knew we were gonna get some juicy things from
Mm-hmm.
there, but Ezra Miller, he's done some wild stuff. Um,
Can we,
and
the
I think
downfall of the DCEU, can we blame it? Can we give it some blame? Because it's like moments like that, like Ezra, like the Aqua Woman getting in trouble. Like, I feel like we can say they're the downfall of the DCEU.
I mean, I think partially, like the DCEU has never been consistent with like decent
Mm-hmm.
films. You know what I mean? And I think it's just had really bad luck with the Amber Heard situation, Ezra Miller, and so they just couldn't get a break. And so I don't think it was a bad idea to scrap the DCEU and kind of create the DCU moving forward. And I think when it comes to things like the Joker, like that's so successful. I'm sure like there isn't any worry about the sequel coming
Right.
out. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm super
Mm-hmm.
excited. And I could definitely see that mesh with the Batman. Of course, we most likely won't see that since there's already a Joker established in that
Stop right
franchise.
there. Stop right
Um,
there. Did he say he was the Joker?
that is the Joker.
But did he say it?
He didn't say it, but it's pretty definitive. Like I don't think there's a debate on that.
I'm gonna debate it just because thinking about it, I was just like, we didn't really get a definitive name, and I think was it a post credit scene or was it an actual just an image of the Batman and this Joker in an interrogation room?
It is a post-credit scene. It was originally supposed to be have a little bit more involvement in the main storyline, but that was
Mm-hmm.
changed early on. But yeah, I don't really think there's a debate on that, and I really don't think they're gonna retcon it just so that the Joker meshes with the Batman. I don't really think that that's gonna happen. Um, and obviously, so many things are changing with DC that, of course, like I guess it could. Like things are definitely in the
Mm-hmm.
air, but I just don't really think that that's a thing that's gonna like. I don't think that the casting of like the Joker or like the whether this was the Joker or not, I don't really think that that's up for debate. Like, I think it was pretty clear.
Let's just put it into, let's have a conversation about time just for a moment, because at the end of the day, we're going to talk about continuity till the end of time. The reason why these movies are never really going to, let's say, gel together or even work together is simply for the fact that the Joker already establishes the age of Bruce Wayne in the first movie. He is a child, so Bruce Man all grown up. We're gonna to assume, if we're gonna link it, uh, the Joker, especially with how Joaquin was looking in this movie, would be geriatric by the time we get what's the guy's name? The actor's name who plays Batman?
Um, Edward Cullen.
Right. I don't want to say Edward. Oh, yeah,
Robert
Pattinson. That's right.
Robert
Exactly. Right.
Pattinson.
So by the time he's of age being Batman, the Joker's old. So of course those worlds cannot exist.
Repeat that one more time. I need you to kind of repeat what you just said.
Oh wow. Okay. So in the Joker, Bruce
Mm-hmm.
Wayne was a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying by the time we reach, if they were to ever, and this is, I'm just saying, this is the reason why it won't work, but if they were to get to the Robert Pattinson Batman, the Joker would be super old based on how he looked in this movie, because he was kind of old in this Joker movie. So that's the only reason why I'm saying that we would never see that Joker and this Batman together.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I think that that's yeah. Like, I think another reason why that most likely won't be the case. Um, And just referring to the post credit scene with the Joker and the Batman, like, just looking at his appearance, you have the green hair, you have the smile, you have the scar. There's a file, and I'm pretty sure that there was like writing to also kind of confirm that that is what it is. So I just wanted to make a
He
definitive
could
thing.
be
There's no
could be
debate.
Two Face. Who knows? Acid burns on his face.
No, that doesn't match.
Yeah, neither did his cameo. I think that honestly, he could have just we could have just had that movie with just the Riddler, and I would have been solid.
Yeah, I mean, if the post credit scene didn't happen, I don't think that this movie would have felt incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think it just leaves the room, or it leaves a little bit of a basis for what the following film will
Mm-hmm.
hold. I know that statements have been made that the Joker and the Penguin will have a more involvement in the
Mm-hmm.
storyline, because the Penguin, we didn't really meet him as the Penguin. We met him as
Cobb Oswald,
Osmond.
Cobblepot.
Yeah, and so very similar to how we met Selena Kyle, not the Catwoman, things like that. So we're gonna see him as more of a actual
Mm-hmm.
antagonist or active antagonist alongside the Joker.
Um, with news of James Gunn kind of scrapping everything DCEU wise, and he's running the DC department in Warner Brothers, even though everything from the Batman and Joker was a success on Warner Brothers' part. With that success, they were supposed to, well, they were making plans to have the Penguin have a show on HBO Max. Do you think that's scrapped?
I did hear that. I think it's TBD. I think if I think it has a potential to get scrapped. I guess like time will tell. It's one of those things. It's like what storylines mesh with the direction of what they're trying to create. Obviously, the Batman has no connection to the
Mm-hmm.
DCU lineup in terms of like the characters we've seen so far. It's kind of its own little thing, which I wanted it to kind of stay that
Mm-hmm.
way. But who knows? Like we said, with talks of like the Superman um, stories that they're going to create, it's going to be a younger version of this of Superman in his early years, which lines up with the Batman story we just saw. So it's early. It's too early to tell. It's too early to tell, and I think there are certain things that are protected, and I don't really see like the Penguin spinoff being one of those things that we can kind of say with confidence that will continue, you know?
Right now, the only thing you're saving from what I'm hearing is anything James Gunn related.
Yeah, like I feel like that makes sense. They confirmed that the Batman is those plans will be continuing. The Joker, I don't see them scrapping that. And those are the projects that I feel pretty confident in saying
Hmm.
will stay. Everything else I think is just TBD.
I think honestly, he as an exec should just, along with the scrapping of everything that was in the future, he should scrap everything that was in the past and take everything off of HBO Max. Be like, don't even worry about it. If you want the Snyder cut, here, you can stream it elsewhere. But as far as DC is concerned, this little widget right here on HBO Max is about to be all James Gunn. Sorry.
We'll see. We will
Mm-hmm.
see. Yeah, so it's I have enough faith in James Gunn. We have a lot of rapport with
Sure.
him that the direction that this is headed is only going to give us like good quality films, and that's what they're going for, quality over quantity. I think that's, you know, especially James Gunn being a part of the MCU for quite some time. I think he, I'm sure, sees the shortfalls of this first phase for this new saga, and I'm sure he plans to not make those mistakes going into the
You
DCU.
said this phase, and this phase, if it starts at Man of Steel, this phase first, this quote unquote phase one of the DCEU has lasted maybe 15 to 18 years. Low-key. It's been a super long phase.
Because they haven't been successful. Like they've really dropped the ball with like Justice League, and then they've been trying to recover. And there was potential for recovery. Like we were very excited the last DC fandom, you know,
Hmm.
and just it's been bad luck after bad luck. And I think it was very smart for them to pull James Gunn into um, the DC like executive role to just fix it, you know, like, and I'm pretty sure that they gave him like as much creative freedom as possible because also his record is just so good, you know.
I mean, yeah, sure, but at the same time, I'm thinking that he's gonna be more so like the Feige of DC, to where he gets to, I guess, say what the final cut is, but it can come to the point to where even now, with the MCU, the MCU has had its duds, and that just was because of, I don't want to blame it on the director, but like certain things like the Eternals, it was different and it didn't work because it didn't give us the normal MCU feel. It started off like a Star Wars, but like there I feel like even under James Gunn, I feel like there's gonna be a moment to where not everything is going to be as perfect as we'd like. I feel like it's just more so going to be a cleanup of this universe as opposed to making it, well, yeah, it's gonna be making it better, but we have to start with cleanup first.
Sure, and I think that the approach that DC is going for is quality projects. So I'm excited for what's going on there. And when it comes to like the MCU, I mean, they basically admitted it blankly, like they were going with a quality, or I'm sorry, quantity over quality approach for this new saga. And now they're kind of they're analyzing and kind of steering the ship into the complete opposite. And let's see if they actually do it, you know, because the MCU, like the multiverse saga started off very strong with a lot of the shows, and it kind of just tapered and, you know, had a lot of duds towards the end, or just not the
Mm-hmm.
best, you know, or outstanding. And so hopefully that, you know, the statements that they've made as of recent, that they need to kind of steer the ship and go for quality versus quantity, I hope they actually do make those changes, you know, because I want to see good quality Marvel projects, you know, like the track record that they had for the Infinity Saga was amazing, you know, and I'd like to see that from the multiverse saga.
Have they put out a schedule for 2023 yet?
I mean, they gave us the schedule for 2023, 2024, at Comic-Con, right? They gave us quite a lot, and of course they still left a lot of projects on like not labeled but with some
Mm-hmm.
dates. And I think that this is the time that they're going to probably change a lot of that based on recent statements. So we have a timeline roughly. We have a schedule roughly for projects, but I think it's in the air right now, just like based on what recent statements have like come out. And so I wouldn't be surprised if, we get a updated lineup,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, and that's what the only reason why I'm asking, just because 2023 is vastly approaching. I believe 2022 we started off strong in January with either uh it was either Loki or was it Loki that started us off? Was that the first show
I believe it was
or
WandaVision, and
WandaVision?
I think Loki followed shortly
Okay,
after. I think so. I'm pretty sure.
so being that they really haven't had, I know right now they're releasing these specials because aside from She-Hulk, we did get Werewolf by Night, and then we got the Guardians. But as far as Disney Plus and Marvel are concerned, um, we don't have anything coming up in January or February as a show, right?
Not that we know so far.
Okay, so it's a little quiet right now for Marvel. I guess they're going to take that time to reorganize and re-strategize and figure out how to bring the quality back. And they're on cleanup duty just like James Gunn is. So I can just assume that both Marvel and DC are currently on cleanup. I think the only people doing all right now is Amazon with The Boys. They're the only
I mean,
comic
it's
book people
great.
that are doing all right out here. No complaints.
Very true. Very, very true.
Mm-hmm. Um, I think that's all I have on the DC talk. Did you have anything else?
I don't. What I am kind of looking for right now is I feel like the Scroll, like TV show. I forget what the name is. Um, what's the name of the TV show that's going to be coming out with Nick Fury, the
Oh,
Scrolls?
the Scrolls,
Yeah, what's the name of the TV show that's going to be coming out in
Secret
Disney
Wars,
Plus? Secret Wars?
Secret Invasion. It's always it's Secret something.
It's Invasion. Yeah, yeah. I think it's Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Secret Wars is what's wrapping
Right.
up the Multiverse of Madness. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that. I think Secret Invasion is correct. So I was just trying to see what the release date for that is because I think that might be the next um
Mm-hmm.
series. So it is set for 2023. You know what? It's actually set for spring
Okay.
of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that's at.
And
And then Echo is also 2023. I don't think we have any more specifics on that. Oh, late 2023. So who knows what the next show is going to be actually?
and the next movie isn't Guardians, is it? Or is it?
Ant-Man
Ant-Man,
and the
that's right.
Wasp.
All right. Ant-Man is February 1st. No, it's not. I read that wrong. Sorry. um oh, I don't know. I don't have the dates. It's pretty much just giving me the years. But either way, um as of right now, I was just more so thinking about where we're going to start the year off right. Well, where we're going to start the year off at. So, the Ant-Man date is when?
I'm looking at right now. Okay, so I have the Phase 5 up here. Okay, so Ant-Man and the Wasp just says
February
2023.
17th.
Okay, okay. So I have like the order in terms of films. So we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then the Marvels. And then 2024 has like, Captain America, Thunderbolts, Blade, and things like that. So I'm not sure if this is a updated lineup, but that's roughly the order that I think these things are going to come out in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like it makes sense. And yeah, I'm patiently wait for these to come out because I don't know, it's weird. I feel like right now we're in a weird time with Marvel just simply for the fact that everything is a question mark. This is almost like the first time we've kind of been in this situation. Like we've kind of known since phase one the direction where the saga was going to go, and now that that saga's ended, it's just like we've said in the past, it's gone a little bit everywhere. So right now we're ending 2022 with a question mark with Marvel Studios. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, it's uncertain and it is scary because it's the first time that we've doubted Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
truly. And I think when, the initial saga was closed off, like, I know a lot of the fandom was concerned because what they did with this initial saga has never been done
Mm-hmm.
before, ever. And for it to be done so successfully is amazing and astounding. So, I mean, I think there's validity in questioning, like, can they do it
Mm-hmm.
again? And I think they truly thought that they were at liberty to give us a quantity versus quality approach. And the fandom deserves better and we expect better. And so it is reassuring to hear that they are like analyzing their objective, that they're evaluating and really taking in what the fandom is
Mm-hmm.
saying. So I believe there is hope. But I think it's fair for us to kind of be, skeptical of where Marvel is
Let
headed.
me ask you a question. We're gonna go back to DC real quick. How do you feel about the rumor of Gunn approaching Ben Affleck to direct?
Ben Affleck is a pretty good director, so I feel like I kind of like that. Yeah.
He's a good director when it comes to drama. You know what I'm saying? So, like, handing him a superhero movie. Like honestly, I don't think he's been enough superhero for me to even enjoy him as like him and as the Batman is like we barely got any of that. We were hoping, or I was hoping to at least, even though he never signed up on it, like I would have loved to see him get his own film or whatnot. But all we got was like a couple glimpses in both of the Justice Leagues and then Batman v Superman, you know? I would have liked to see more. But now, with that and Daredevil under his belt, it's like yeah he's a great director, but do you think he can carry a superhero movie even though he's already spoken out this year about how he feels about superhero movies, you know? So I don't know, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think that I have faith in like the what's the word? In just James Gunn
Mm-hmm.
overall. And so I think that does speak a lot in his or the rumor that he's looking at Ben Affleck to direct. And I think it just depends what project. I think they did specify that it's for a Batman
Mm-hmm.
project. And I'm wondering if it is the Batman. In which case, I feel like his background working with drama might work well with that. You know what I mean? So I'm hopeful. Like it doesn't make me feel. It is. I'm not concerned by that rumor.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could pull it off. I think they. I think they can.
Okay. I was just curious just because of the different styles of directing, and we know right now we kind of favor James Gunn just because of what he's given us as a director, and we know I feel like now we know that if it comes down to a James Gunn film, I think or show, we're going to get something fun. You know, it's not going to be as dramatic. Yes, there's going to be drama, there's going to be moments, but it's going to be almost like a fun movie to expect from him. Now, I just question, not to say that Ben Affleck can't. Like, I'm sure he can, and I'm sure he can do a good job, but just based off his resume, I don't see fun. I see tears. I see Oscars, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing, like, nothing really, like, superhero esque in Ben Affleck directing.
Okay, like and just referring to like James Gunn, I think that the projects he's worked for definitely lean in that direction because it's true to the characters and it's authentic. But I don't see him like say using that as like the overarching stories that they're gonna be doing. You know what I mean? I think it's based on the characters, and I think that he has the ability to keep these films authentic to those characters. And I don't know, I have hope with the whole Ben Affleck. Just like a side commentary, I definitely do agree that he was basically like a stand-in just when it came to Batman. Like we just gotta fill the role. We need a Batman on
Mm-hmm.
there, and it was just a stand-in. It was never felt like actually Batman. Like I don't think I was ever invested in him as Batman. Um, but I think that he could pull off a superhero film, and I think it just depends on the characters that he's working with. You
You
know?
want to know something funny? I think out of the whole DCEU, now that I think about it, I think he was the only one to get like a training montage getting ready for for battle, and that was him versus Superman. I think every other film outside of that, no one else got a montage. I don't think. Like Wonder
Yeah,
Woman.
because they don't need it. Like I guess like like a close example would be like Wonder Woman. Like we do see her in training, you know. I think that might be like the closest thing I can think of. But it's like Superman's just Superman. Like he doesn't need to practice anything. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Um, and so yeah, like I mean, it makes sense that he would because he's like not enhanced, you know. So
Right.
he does have to kind of keep his skills fresh, you know.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, because now that I think about it, I don't know if anybody besides superheroes. Do you think montages are really geared more so for people who need to train and work out to get ready for whatever adventure that they have in the film, whether if it's a boxing match or whether if it's just like I don't know. I like superhero wise, I don't really see it, and I know we don't really see much of it in Marvel. It was just random that it just popped up in my mind that he had one in that one movie. I don't know. What do you think about training montages?
I mean, I think that they do lean more for those heroes that aren't enhanced. Like, look at Falcon and Winter Soldier. We get like a scene for both.
Yep.
Like, like that's I think another great example of it. So yeah, like I think
The average Joe.
that's a fair assessment.
If you're
You
an
know,
average Joe, you get a training montage, basically.
yeah. It's like someone even Cat, right? He had like a mini training montage, like when Nick Fury initially approaches him for the Avengers
Mm-hmm.
project, right? Like he's like boxing and things like that. But I think that was more so for therapy because he's freaking
Right.
angry, you know, like rightfully so, more so than needing to do
Mm-hmm.
that, you know. So yeah, I think that that's a fair assessment to make,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Okay. I think I've asked all of my questions and given all of my theories for today. Did you have anything else?
No, I think that we kind of fleshed out, what the objective of today was, looking into the Spider Verse trailer,
Mm-hmm.
discussing kind of recent confirmations from DC, and yeah, so I think that's it on my part.
I love it. So today was a little shorter, but no worries. Will we wait? Will we be back the 23rd? Are you going to be available on the 23rd?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I'll be
Okay.
available. Yeah.
So we will
I don't
be.
have anything planned.
We're gonna have our Christmas edition. I remember last year, didn't you have like a Santa hat? Are you gonna
I
can you
sure
wear your
did.
Santa
I
hat
sure did.
this year? If you do, I'll get one and we will wear one. Like I will today.
Done.
Okay, all right, done. So I will go find one in between now and next Friday, and I will have my Santa hat.
Chef's kisses. I love it.
Wait,
That'll
can
be
you
exciting.
show everybody the people your nails? I saw like your nails like kind of put together with two other people on Insta. So you
Yeah,
got. Tell us, show us.
it was Bella and Victor. So Victor's one of my coworkers. But we have like chrome. It's like silver
Chrome.
chrome. I think I have too much light to kind of see, but
Look at that
I
glare,
feel like
man.
yeah, I got too much glare. And also it's like the chrome, so like it's like very reflective. But yeah, I feel like a villain with these. It's like my favorite nails that I've had, and I always get them like kind of long, and I like the stilettos. So like I feel like a villain.
Yeah, when I saw them initially, I was like, those are kind of sharp. I don't know. She passes away
Very.
to one of her clients. She may like cut them, but who knows?
Oh no, I stab them. Like genuinely, when I'm assessing, I'm like, if you're out of form, you literally get hurt.
Oh,
Like,
I can just
you know,
just imagine you pinching and just like, oh.
Not even pinching, literally just like I think like when I do often is like say we're doing shoulder taps or just something where like fighting rotation, like I'll just put my fingers right next to their hips so that if they're rocking their hips, they literally get hurt for doing wrong form.
Man,
I'm sadistic. It is what it is.
that's crazy. A little bit. But anywho, that is
Sure.
but that is today's episode of the Comic Cinematic Universe with Chill and Grace. Again, we'll be back next Friday. So for those who haven't finished Christmas shopping, I'm right there with you. You know, I just sent some gifts off to Virginia, but now I gotta get some gifts for my people out here on the West Coast. So I will take care of that between now and Christmas. Are you almost done? How about you? Nowhere near. Have you started?
Nowhere near. Nowhere near. I've gotten some things like actually before the show, like I like did some shopping. I got a couple, but no, I got like so much more to do. So we're not close there.
Yeah. Why is it? It's like, why is it coming up so soon? One, and then B, why do I have to give everybody everything? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I ask all these questions every Christmas, but that's just me.
See, it's like I think the months just go by so quickly, and like in a blink of an eye, you're like, dude, how are we halfway through the month?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like next week. It like really only hit me a couple days ago that next week is Christmas. Yep. It's practically here.
Mm-hmm. But luckily for me, where I work today, I feel like I've only heard Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas once. So I think that's a Christmas miracle right there. Because usually Christmas season, it's on everywhere. It's on all the time.
God bless. So and honestly, I think I'm in the same boat. I've been kind of safe on that as well, luckily.
Knock on wood,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
and I think that's...
Make sure.
I think that's a win.
Okay.
So.
Go ahead. Go. Listen, you've been on a roll. Just go ahead and close this out if you could.
I've been on a roll. All right, guys. So that was the Comic Cinematic Universe with Chill and Grace. We will see you next week. Lovely holiday special topic TBD, but we will see you for sure on the 23rd, same time.
Same time. All right. Everybody have a great weekend. Grace, you have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all next week.
Farewell, guys. Bye.
Later.